Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. Thank you for joining us for this conversation.
Hello everybody, this is Sean Martin. You're very welcome to a new episode here on ITSP Magazine, where we are covering RSA conference from the show floor and out and about in the city, and getting a chance to talk to our friends and what I consider family to see what the latest is, what are some of the trends we're hearing at the conference and beyond. And I'm thrilled today to have our good friends from Imperva, and more specifically, Pam Murphy, join us. He's the CEO of Imperva. Pam, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me, Sean.
Hopefully it's been a good week for you so far.
It has. I think RSA is back in force this year, so it's great to meet with customers and partners, and it feels like it's really back now after a couple of years of, less than full capacity traffic.
A little less than normal activity. Mm-hmm. But that hasn't slowed things down in cyberspace. The threat actors have continued, and obviously our protections and responses have tried to keep up. Before we get into some of the things that businesses are challenged with and how they're attacking those challenges, a brief intro to who Pam is, and maybe how you came to Imperva and why.
Sure. So maybe I should start with who Imperva is for any listeners who's not familiar with us. So Imperva is a cybersecurity leader whose job it is to help customers protect data and all paths to that data. So we help our customers every day and protect their applications, protect their data, protect their APIs, protect them from cyber attacks. So I joined Imperva in January 2020 as CEO. Prior to that, I had been 10 years in a enterprise software company called Infor, multi-tenant industry cloud company. And prior to that, I was about 10 years at Oracle. My roles there, I basically, covered hardware, software. Oracle expanded into many, many areas, obviously, over the years with all the acquisitions that it did. The reason why I joined Imperva was because up to that point, I had been a consumer of security. So I had worked at Infor, multi-tenant cloud company, very much focused on industry solutions, big consumer of the hyperscalers and cloud services. And so I ran DevOps, I ran Cloud Ops, I ran many, many, many functions, as well as the business functions as well that comes with being a chief operating officer. That was my role in the company. And I joined Imperva because I thought I would love to be on the other side. I was a consumer, now becoming somebody who defined effectively our solutions and made sure that they're what the market needed and what our customers wanted. I think that was a big driving force. I had watched Imperva from the outside, and they really have always been the best of what they do and the solutions that they have to market. And I thought it was a great opportunity to come in and continue to make sure that we were giving our security professionals and customer organizations the solutions that they needed to solve their problems, and making sure that we were really taking a very customer-centric approach with delivering the best security solutions out there. So that was a big factor why I joined. It's been now over 3 years. I've really enjoyed it. We have an excellent team. We have grown our solution set organically and inorganically. We've built out a platform to cover our application security and our data security solutions. And we've really tried to spend a lot of time listening to the challenges that customers have today and really making sure that our solutions were solving for those challenges. So I'm really enjoying it. Security is a really interesting and exciting place to be. What we do really matters to our customers. We protect them from hacks and attacks every day. And it's great to be in a situation whereby customers can really tell you the value that they get from our solutions. So it's interesting. It's exciting. We love working with our customers and our partners. What we see out there is scary, honestly speaking, in terms of the threat landscape and what actors are doing. The amount of attacks that we block on a day-to-day basis is pretty scary, and it continues to increase and go up all the time. But that also makes it exciting, because you always have to work harder to make sure that your solutions continue to be effective in helping our customers. So I think it's the most exciting area that I have been in the software industry in my whole career that I've been here. And I'd like to stay here.
Well, keep it going. I mean, you have an incredible team. We've had the pleasure of speaking with many of them, and super smart, super passionate, and clearly they understand the challenges that your customers are facing, which I presume starts with you and works its way all the way down throughout the organization. And I think through all the conversations we have, we find that security often starts with security people talking about security, and we miss the mark on what's the value of security to the business. And people aren't in business to be a secure business. They're in the business to sell cookies or build cars or fly planes or protect critical infrastructure, whatever it might be. And how are you hearing some of the challenges with business perhaps shaping or reshaping the way organizations need to think about security, and what challenges does that bring as well?
Well, I think fundamentally there's a couple of different lenses that I look at it. There's one lens which is to say that there's a lot of compliance. There's a lot of rules and regulations out there that continue to come into effect. For example, we're expecting some additional ruling from the SEC in the months ahead with respect to cybersecurity rules. Related is privacy. There's far more privacy rules and regulations emerging around the world. So the regulatory aspect of things continues to increase. Next thing I would say is obviously there's a huge reputational issue for businesses in having a breach, in having to disclose that there has been an issue, and also it security issues and matters and breaches and hacks can obviously bring a business down. We've seen lots of incidents of ransomware take place last year, which crippled businesses for a period of time. Hackers and bad actors looking for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to effectively unleash that block that they put in their business. So huge business disruption aspect and issue as well that businesses need to avoid. I remember years and years and years ago, often the hacker issues were sort of, superficial, I guess, in nature compared to the damage that they can do today. A real impediment and major business disruption factor. What we try and do, honestly speaking, is to try and be as invisible as possible, because what you want businesses to be able to do is you want the DevOps and you want the customer teams to be able to embrace digitalization and go and take advantage of all the technologies that are out there today from the hyperscalers, from the various technology companies, so that they can continue to on their digital journey and their modernization journey and create the best experience for their customers. Our job in security is to be able to provide that security, provide that protection, provide that compliance, and not be an impediment to businesses' ability to continue to better serve their customers. And that's something that we have really been focused on as a company, is making sure that we are not an impediment, that we can be an enabler for those businesses as well, to be able to be compliant, to be able to be secure, and to be able to have their businesses not have any interruption, but at the same time be able to innovate and be able to do what they need to do for their end customers.
So what are some of those innovations that you're hearing about where executives then take a moment to pause, hopefully, and say, this puts us at risk, this exposes us, this increases our threat landscape, or a threat vector, I should say, maybe, Anyway, it exposes our company to things that shouldn't be, but not in a way that we want to say no. Right. So how can we innovate and drive new things? We want to build apps. We want to deliver apps. We want an agile, continuous integration, continuous delivery life cycle. We need to use AI and bots and these types of technologies, but then we also have to protect ourselves from those same technologies being used against us.
Well, that's where I guess it's back on us, the security industry, to make sure that they can do all those things and have those products that can help them. So I would say that there's two. When you think about really where hackers and bad actors are trying to do, they're really trying to get at data. That is the most valuable asset that a company has these days. And when we say data, it could be sensitive financial information, credit card information, something that, could seriously be punitive. It could be sensitive data that you just do not want to get out in the public market. And you certainly don't want to have to go reporting externally either that your systems and that your operation has been breached. So fundamentally, data is what they're trying to get at. And the way that they, try and come into an organization maybe a certain threat vector, but fundamentally they're trying to get to that. And that is why protecting data and all paths to that data is so important. What's really happened and really accelerated quite substantially in recent years is the fact that data now is any form, anywhere, every place. A typical customer of ours will have data that is on-premise. They may be very old applications with old data stores. They're using every flavor of data store that's out there and available on the market, on a public cloud, or in their own environment. And that data can be structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. And so that data is everywhere, and it's in all different formats. And being able to know where that data is, what kind of data that is that sensitive data? Is it PCI data? Is it confidential data? Who's touching that data? What are they doing with that data is just so important. And that is one of the top issues that I will have CISOs and various other C-suite executives say is a big concern. That proliferation of data that's happened and exploded over the last number of years has become a problem to get their arms around. We have had a data security business for many years. We have continued organically and inorganically to expand our coverage to make sure that we are able to see where all that data is in any form, any structure, and bring together under a single pane of glass the information which tells them where that data is, what it is, and who's accessing it. And that's been a very important part of our business that has grown as a result of that proliferation. The other category I would bring up is API insecurity, is what we call it within Imperva. It's felt like APIs have been around for 100 years, honestly. I mean, when I came out of college, I don't remember there not being APIs, but what we've seen in recent years, again, is just that massive acceleration in how APIs are used. We see now about 80% of the traffic going through our WAF and CDN. We have a global single instance, effectively cloud platform, whereby we can see all the traffic and data, and about 80% of that now is API related. So
can I pause you, because my expectation is that yes, APIs have been around for a long time, but most of them up until recent years have been used to present an interface to a user.
That's exactly
that
right.
provides access to that data so they can do something with it. But the app-to-app, system-to-system, service-to-service, where the user may not even be involved, or we're relying on systems to act on our behalf, has become an even more prevalent situation.
Absolutely, and those APIs pulling data and business logic coming into the mix. And so one of the biggest issues and challenges that you'll hear CISOs talk about is understanding what APIs they have got going on working in their environment, and more specifically what those APIs are doing. So when we go out and we turn on Discovery, for example, in our API security tool, we invariably find that there is a serious multiple delta between what someone may have thought was going on and what is actually going on in their environment. Shadow APIs just being prolific everywhere. And what those, the damage that can be done as a result of those, obviously can be very serious as well. So API security is something, again, we've been very much spending a lot of time on in recent years. And the volume just continues to go up exponentially. Yeah.
So let me ask, how do organizations we're talking about a big part of a bigger security program.
Mm-hmm.
And even within your business, you have multiple elements. You have API, you have data protection, you have network protections as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do organizations take their strategies, driving business forward and doing that safely, but how do they take their strategies and begin to prioritize operationally what's important to them?
I feel a lot of compassion and sympathy for a CISO's job, security professional's job these days, because the blast radius is so much, and the coverage that they have to manage and maintain is incredible. But I think it's a reason why what they're also doing right now is they are wanting to have a lot of consolidation happening. They want to have fewer vendors and have those vendors be more sort of expansive, right, and more complete in terms of the solutions that they offer. We see, we've got a complete platform, and we've got bot and API security and client-side protection and many other solutions on the same stack, for ease of implementation, for ease of use, for ease of operation. So time to value and total cost of ownership are really a big deal for security professionals these days. And I think that's helping those vendors who do have a platform story and who do have a more expansive and comprehensive portfolio to offer. I think they say that, any given company has 75 to 100, maybe more, different point solutions for security in operation. And that's really too much. A lot of them are just point solutions solving for a specific issue. And those vendors who have that kind of comprehensive end-to-end, platform for a given area that can holistically look at the intersection of different threat vectors, I think is going to be more value added and is going to be, more strategic for those customers to help them reduce the enormity, right, of the solutions that they manage. The skills issue in security is a real big deal. Obviously, with proliferation of modernization and digitalization comes the need for more security. We still have a problem in the market in terms of not having enough people with enough security skills. And so I hear that repeatedly as well from companies, that they don't have enough people. And therefore, it puts the impetus on companies like us to make sure that our solutions have a good time to value, a quick time to value, and that the total cost of running those solutions are kept very low. Because, a customer can have all the budget in the world, but effectively, if it doesn't have the people available to be able to effectively operate, then it's not an ideal environment. So I think there are two important things that security vendors, right, need to continue to focus on in order to better serve, customers and companies going forward.
Yeah. And so you touched on it, the digital transformation, right? And we hear companies going through that, and I seldom hear security digital transformation, where there's an opportunity to really reevaluate the technologies you're using, the operations that make them happen, and to your point, the teams that are required to pull it all together. How do you have those conversations with the security executives that are perhaps a little more mature and having that journey of transformation in their security programs? How do you have that conversation with them?
Well, I think, best practice obviously is building security into the software development life cycle, and there are many companies who are very effective in doing that, but it's hard not to be there, given how easy it is to just go into the candy store that is AWS or GCP Azure and be able to sort of take whatever you want and use and deploy it. So oftentimes it can be a catch-up exercises for many security companies. Those who are our customers, we are partners to them, and we work with them very closely and understand how they're deploying, where they're deploying, what they're deploying, to make sure that we're with them as part of that journey. But, it is fair to say there are, companies out there that will come to us, after the fact and ask to retrospectively help them get their arms around that data, get their arms around their APIs, help them with a bot problem, help them with account takeover issues that they're having, and that's just part of our job. But obviously, to the extent that that can be managed and sort of solved for upfront as part of the rollout of the applications, that's better. From our perspective, we've been working hard at using infrastructure as a code and other solutions so that as DevOps are spinning up solutions out there, we basically, using Terraform, using many of the available toolings out there, we are able to have them spin up our solutions, right, as part of that exercise, such that, from day one, they are protected, they are covered. So we have really been focusing on, as I said, making sure that those groups who are proactively working very hard to quickly get out with new solutions and new services as part of that digital transformation or modernization journey, that security is not the handbrake. Security is with them, and we are part of their, effectively development lifecycle and helping them get out security at the same time as they get out their products.
So you're built into the developer's environment as well as the delivery and ops.
We've been
workflow.
working very hard to make sure that the tooling that they use, in terms of that they use to get their solutions up and running, are also those that we use to make sure that as part of the whole kit, yes, you can spin up a WAF or you can spin up our solutions at the same time. Yes.
And as we wrap here, Pam, is there a moment in your conversation with customers and prospects where they kind of switch and go, oh, this is really going to change how we look at security for our organization?
That's a great point, because one of the things that we've really been focused a lot on is value, right? Value from the solutions. So, you would, as a baseline, we expect that our solutions are set up and they work. Like, our customers use us, 95% plus in blocking mode, meaning that they're not concerned that we're going to create false positives that would, incorrectly let good traffic be blocked or be stopped. And so we have a high level of efficacy in our solutions, and customers are letting us do what we do, right? And not setting us up for anything other than protection and blocking mode. But to us, right, that's not enough, right? We also as well have been working hard to identify how do we allow our customers to go back to their board, to go back to their, if you will, budget holders, and be able to say, hey, not only have we blocked X number of attacks or stopped, Y business disruptions, but here's the value that you can get from our solutions. Our cloud platform is a CDN, and the CDN brings performance with it. So, oftentimes we have cases whereby customers will say that we are able to, security aside, we've been able to increase the performance that their applications gave, right, when interacted by their end users. So we've lots of data in our cloud console, effectively, which shows the performance gains that we can get, the way in which we're able to identify disruptions in the network, disruptions in things outside of security that have, caused some interruption of service or caused some issues for their end customers. And so value is a big deal. What you want to do is make sure that every time your customers are defending every year the security spend, that they're able to equip the holders of those funds to be able to see that there's a lot of value that the security solutions bring. So it's a really, really big deal, really big deal for us.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think what I'm hearing is it's not. Value is important. You can't just have a technology for the sake of having a technology. The value is important, but even more so is the ability to demonstrate.
Show it, absolutely
and
right.
And tell the story of why this is happening.
Absolutely right. There's a lot of talk about SIMs, right, and a lot of data being sent to SIMs. We have, on both our data security side and on the application security side, constructed our solutions as a pre-processing SIM. And what that effectively means is that, and it's similar on both sides, we effectively sort through the noise and we streamline and identify those events, security events, that we feel our customers should be focused on. So get rid of the 90% plus, which is just, truly noise, things that really they don't need to worry about, and just really focus on those events that we feel had some, anomaly in them, had some activity that we want them to focus on. So that does a number of things. Number one, it saves costs because you're not sending a huge amount of dump into your SIM and leaving the poor SIM operators with trying to identify what they should be looking for. So it really is a cost-saving exercise, but also it allows us within our solution to be able to show them great analytics, great dashboards, whereby they can focus on and be able to drill down and understand in those security events that we flagged and identified what they should be looking at, and therefore being able to have a really good conversation with their threat research team, with their SOC, whichever groups internally, I guess, are doing that threat hunting. So yeah, that was important for us, because what we were hearing quite a lot was that the data was being captured, but they wanted to have better value given to how they filter through and sort through that data to be able to focus on the things that they needed to action and take care of.
Yep. Super cool. And I know we at some point this week we're going to get to talk to some of the more technical folks as well, digging into how some of that works. We've had the opportunity to speak to some of the team members on that point, and to me the key word there is trust. You said your customers are allowing you to take action for them because they trust you, and I think that all boils back down to the team. So
it does, and I mean, you have to have trust in security. You have to make sure your efficacy is very high to make sure that you are not interrupting any legitimate or valued business from the customer side. And we also have to help our customers. The CISO and the security team have a lot on their plate, and we see it, as our job to be invisible to any disruption, but at the same time add value to help them really, take action. We often find that, bad actors will use many, many different ways to try and get into an organization if they're fixated on a particular company, and stringing together the various different paths that they take outside of the area that we cover, outside of applications, outside of data. So whether it be the network, whether it be a compromised VPN, whatever the case may be, we enjoy being part of those conversations with other, parts of the security space that we're not in, so that we can help piece things together and help the customer understand, why somebody is after them and why they're being targeted, and specifically where else could they go. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, for sure.
It's a journey. And well, this has been a fun journey for me. I want to thank you, Pam, for taking the time to share with us during this busy week. And for everybody listening, we'll include notes to share the Imperva site. I think we'll include links for where to find you in the conference this week. And if you're not opposed to it, your social profile, so people can connect with you directly and have these conversations that they need to have to transform their security programs.
That would be great.
So thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this podcast, share ITSP Magazine with your friends, family, and colleagues. Thank you for listening.